Hello and welcome to the Graceful Connections Festival of Grace. I'm Sophie Bidard and I'm delighted to be your host on this journey as we celebrate and activate grace through its myriad facets and expressions. I'm so grateful that you've chosen to be here today, bringing your unique energy into our circle of connection. Your presence honors the calling within you to celebrate and activate the grace of divine rights in natural law. And that's exactly what our channel of grace today, Elizabeth Wysen, will be sharing with us. That's a very intriguing topic. And with Elizabeth, we know it's going to be profound and fascinating. So let's begin. Take a moment to let go of anything that doesn't serve this present moment. With each breath, feel yourself arriving more fully here. As we set our intention, may all that flows within our sacred space, be it words, vibrations, energies, serve the highest evolution of our souls and extend outward in service to all. I invite you to open your heart and your mind to receive all the brilliance that awaits. Activating your connection to the new Earth crystalline grid and to the galactic center, the center of truth. You are perfectly held, both grounded and lifted. You are safe. You can relax. You are ready and open to receive. Now I'm calling the orb of grace from the heart of the universe and placing the orb of grace around our gathering, each and every one of us. That we be held in this orb of grace and infused with grace all along our time together. As grace permeates our field, it harmonizes and magnifies all that seeks alignment and illuminates all that longs for expression in accordance with divine will and the order of grace. And breathe. Beautiful. Within the orb of grace, I'm delighted to welcome Elizabeth Wysen, considered a living library and an oracle. Elizabeth is an advanced seer who works on the cutting edge of galactic and quantum anthropology, trauma healing, and futurism. Today, Elizabeth is sharing with us the grace of divine rights in natural law, inviting us to claim our grace-filled place in the kingdom of light. What a blessing to have you with us today, Elizabeth. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Super glad to be here.
We're super glad to be with you in the Orb of Grace. So everyone, Elizabeth will also today offer live intuitive readings. And as a seer and oracle, we can be sure that she will go straight to the point with much precision and clarity. So to request your reading, press *2 on the phone or click raise hand on the web to come on the line with Elizabeth. Or place your request in the Q&A box on the web. And the question to ask is, what simple activity can I do for my present healing? For now, let's dive into our fascinating topic. And I'd like to begin with asking you, Elizabeth, what is natural law and how do we as humans fit into natural law?
Thank you. I love natural law. It's so important right now. And the way I define natural law is basically it's the opposite of the matrix. And we can see the matrix is a structure of control that uses cultural conditioning to make humans act and believe certain things, right? And so when we're going through our healing processes, no matter where you're at the beginning, middle, end of your healing process, you're dismantling a lot of that matrix structure inside of you. So you're noticing all of those really negative thoughts and these negative beliefs that really hurt you all the time and that tend to get pulled up as a loop in your head. And then you're also dismantling the attitudes and the way that you work with other people. You're noticing then at that point too that a lot of the structures and the business structures that we have around us are built upon those beliefs. One of those beliefs that I've been noticing a lot lately is the idea of competition. But if we look at natural law, it's what happens when you dismantle all of those false structures, those distortions, and you end up in what's already there, what's already available, because nothing is separate from natural law. Ironically, not even the matrix is separate. In natural law, we would say that the matrix existed in order to put humanity under the exact right pressure they needed to evolve. And so in natural law, you are not separate from it. Nothing is separate from it. All things that are seen as negative or evil or dark or even all of that is not separate from it, because there's a way that consciousness works. And so darkness and suffering exist because of a very fluid formula of consciousness that you can count on, that's there in the laws of nature. So that means that anything that's formless can be and is often put under pressure in order for it to continue to create innovative breakthroughs and changes in the future. So natural law is literally, how does this universe work exactly? And what's really cool is that the human being is a living miracle. We are built to work perfectly with natural law. We are built as a living celebration of the universe. So our bodies are actually a technology that was built as a celebration of the universe and a vessel for your consciousness to be able to practice your evolution. And that requires both suffering and it requires, of course, breakthroughs. It requires innovation. So in natural law, the human being is one of the greatest wielders of these laws because we have divine rights. And those rights are, how are you allowed to, how are you able to, what is available to you for you to act in natural law to create a reality that is actually going to continue to create more innovation and more novelty. I'm not saying create utopia. I'm not saying create, perfect, endless non-suffering, because that's not going to happen. But instead, in natural law, we embrace exactly the way that consciousness flows and moves in this universe, and we begin to learn how to go with that flow, how to embrace it, how to do a lot less work in consciousness, because you're hooking into or syncing up with what we would call the divine order. So natural law creates the divine order, and in that order, you have a position that is unique to you, which is why competition doesn't actually exist. None of that's real. And what is real is that you are a celebration, and you are a unique vessel for all of these different forms of consciousness that move through us. And in those laws, you have rights. And those laws don't put you down. They don't put you in a box like human laws do. Instead, they elevate you. And your rights are how you are being asked to, not being told that you don't have this right, but you have this right, but rather how you are being asked to show up in this universe right now and what you have the ability to embrace, which is far beyond what we would normally give ourselves. So that's how I see natural law and the human's position in it.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Okay, already you've shattered the myth of competition. I love that. Okay. A couple of questions. relating to what you just said, why now? You said that this is important now. Why now? What specifically? What makes it so important now?
Well, now what's really interesting about the human race on Earth is that, first off, at a galactic point of view, all eyes are on us at the moment. And we hold a very unique position in our galactic collective of other humans. There's many, many, many races of humans in this galaxy on all sorts of different planets, and all eyes are on us because, first off, there are more people now at the end of this cycle that we're in than all of the other 66 12,000 year cycles we've been through combined. So that means we're right on the verge of a very big shift. And we know that that's true according to our galactic history, because every 800,000 years, there's a huge species change. So we're at the end of that 800,000 years. It's time for us to become a new type of human. And that's, of course, not an easy process whatsoever. So we're at the end of the end of our known civilization, and we're watching the matrix fall apart, and we're all really ready and primed right this moment with the right technology, the right pressure, right? We've all been through a lot of pressure the past decade, we could argue the past 40 to 50 years even, or really all of our lives. But I would say whoever's alive right now is being put under such immense amounts of pressure that we can all feel how intense the evolution process is happening every single day a little more. And that means that we're right on the verge. We're on the verge of a pole shift. We're on the verge of a species change. We're on the verge of ending the galactic war. And how will we do that? Well, we do it by waking up. We have to wake up to our true nature. We are not these bodies. We are the immortal souls which utilize and have been invited to utilize these incredible technologies that we call these bodies. And furthermore, we're on the verge of turning into something that is unique, that hasn't happened before. Humans, Homo sapiens in particular, have the ability to be able to remember. And we can remember our soul's history. It's very difficult for other humans to do that. They have a lot more trauma in their DNA, and we don't. We don't because we have original DNA that didn't have any galactic memory in it, which is why all of the trouble with Adam and Eve and shame and all of these things actually existed. It's because of the tree of wisdom and knowledge was not just broad wisdom and knowledge. It was about the galactic history that we've been through. And we need to remember. So the next iteration of human beings is called Homo luminous, the human of light. And many, many people are aware of this coming. I did not make that term up. That was a term that many, many people all at once perceived was true. And there's even people who've written books about it. The Shuar, who are the native people who live near me here in Ecuador, they also knew about it way before all of this. They know about the 12,000 year cycle. They didn't have access to universities. They knew about all this because they're one with nature. But we're right in that. We're in that moment right this minute. It's all these doorways happening all at once, which is why everyone feels really overwhelmed a lot of the time. And you should. So you should pat yourself on the back and be aware that, yes, you're literally in it. You're in this moment in time with all these cycles ending all at once. And your job is to be hyper-conscious, hyper-present, be ready and willing to be available to what is the divine will, the divine order that's in you, that's around you, that's inviting you to be a different kind of human being. So what would happen if we could all remember each other and all remember our souls' histories? We would stop identifying with the body, and we would hold these bodies far more precious. We would see one another as living souls instead of bodies and crazy people. That's how the media and the Dark Order want you to think of humans as a bunch of angry people, angry Karens and violent, crazy people, and when that's not actually the case at all. So we have this opportunity, and we've got a lot of pressure on us at the moment to make this shift, but it's going to happen because you're here and you're witness to it. And so we can, with our awareness, we have the ability to turn this into something extremely beautiful, and we have the ability to end the galactic war, to end the Dark Order on Earth. By our existence, by us waking up, we end it, because you then become more powerful than anything they could ever try against you. So that's what we're being asked to do at this moment. It's to actually step into our power as a species once and for all. And we have a lot backing us up for that.
That's great to know. And great to know that if, as we certainly do feel the overwhelm, it's overwhelmed for a good cause, or a divine cause, we could say. The other question I had, and maybe you've answered it, let's see what's your perspective on that. I was wondering if where there are rights, are there duties? So there are divine rights, as you say. Are there divine duties, or is this a matrix conception? Or I was wondering, I picked up on what you said. I'm wondering, is our divine duty this being hyper conscious and present, as you just mentioned?
You're really close. So the way I teach about duty is actually a traditional classical viewpoint on duty, which comes from the Bhagavad Gita. And so Krishna is talking to Arjuna, this incredible warrior. And Arjuna is right on the verge of having to fight this really big battle, right? And Arjuna's like, do I have to? Do I have to? Like, I really don't want to kill all these people. And Krishna looks at him and he says, I already know what's going to happen. You're going to win this battle, and you're going to be one of only 2 people who survive it. And you're going to do it beautifully and perfectly, because it is your duty. Because your soul is a warrior's soul. Not your body, your soul. So my duty, for example, is to be an oracle, to be someone who is a living mirror with great compassion, without ego, to provide insight and counsel to whoever shows up. Anyone. It could be a dog, a cat, a human, whoever shows up. It could be an alien. I don't care. That's my duty, and it's my nature to do it. So duty comes from your nature and your unique frequency. We have lots of names for what the soul is. So we could call it a frequency. We could call it your unique quality of light. I like to imagine it as like a big piano, because I'm a pianist. And each human being is a key on that piano. And anyone who's played a piano, or really any instrument, if you have one of the keys off, or one thing off, then you don't want to play, because it doesn't sound right. It doesn't feel good to play a piano when even just one key doesn't sound right. It's off, right? That's how important you are. I like to tell people, the Midnight Sonata with one note, just one single note removed, is no longer the Midnight Sonata. The universe and everything that it's meant to be cannot exist without you. And which brings up a lot of other questions about death, for sure. But my point is that you play a unique role, and you are here to step into that divinity. You are a unique instrument. So if I'm a harp, and perhaps you, Sophia, are a flute, or whatever it might be, I can't be a flute. I can't go force myself to be a flute. It's my duty to be a harp, because there's nobody else who can do that. That's why competition doesn't actually exist. It's not possible. It's physically, literally not possible. I am so utterly unique in the universe, and so are you, that we can't compete. We could share the same data, but it means that some people are going to hear it from me because they can hear the harp better, but other people need to hear it from the flute because they can't understand it from the harp. They're going to understand it better from the flute. It doesn't matter if it's the same exact words. I've literally had that happen. Where people are like, well, why don't you teach this stuff? And I said, well, I do, but you were able to hear it from this other person better. I teach the exact same thing they do, but you heard it from them because your soul was able to hear that song, hear their frequency better than mine. So that's That's how duty works. It's literally, it's kind of your destiny. Duty and destiny go hand in hand. You're meant to be the harp. You're meant to be the flute because you've always been that. In this universe, you are immortal, and so you will always be the harp. You always will play that note. That's exactly what God intended. So you don't actually have to do any work to try to be that. The work is to dismantle all of the things that keep you from being that. So I tell people, you're already enlightened. Your job is to dismantle everything that keeps you from fully embodying and being aware of your enlightenment.
Right. Yeah. I hear you. This is so important, and at the same time, it makes us perceive, I guess, the thickness of the sickness and the thickness at the same time of the conditioning when we observe how so many are confused about what is their destiny, their duty, their purpose, right? Where a harp knows they are harp. And yes, if they try to be a flute, they will soon realize that they can't be a flute, they will be a harp, but they won't try to be a pencil, right?
Yeah,
Or a brush,
exactly.
right?
Yeah.
But we as humans, or so many, are confused about what is my purpose, what is it that I'm meant to do or that I'm meant to be even. Whereas you say our soul holds this and it is eternal and immortal in its nature. So I guess, yes, it shows us the thickness and the sickness of the conditioning that makes us forget or doubt, and I guess a combination of forgetting and doubting what is our nature of being a harp or a pencil or whatever it is that we are individually, right?
Yes, we have to get retrained. And that's why, counselors like myself and so many of the wonderful people you have on, and of course yourself, Sophie, this is why our jobs are so important. Because we need help, all of us. I need help to be able to, I have counselors. I have multiple. And I set myself up because I knew, like, hey, if I'm going to continue to be a masterful teacher, I have to make sure that I have even better, more masterful teachers teaching me. And then that's how lineages should work. But we need help to dismantle these things. We need to see our behaviors and our thoughts and have help discerning what is my soul's voice. What is my soul's voice? How are my thoughts messy and impure? How do I dismantle the structures in my subconscious that quietly paint distortions for the rest of the world so that I'm, instead of shining my soul's light through this beautiful lighthouse that is my body, I'm shining big Batman signs that are attracting jerks instead. And we have to get help to dismantle that stuff. It's very hard for us to see ourselves. It doesn't matter how super psychic you are. You could be like me, but I'm the worst at seeing myself. So we do need help. It's built in that way. But when you can actually have people say, wait a minute, is that really you? Is that statement you, or is it coming from trauma, and which trauma? And then helping you dismantle it. Having processes and practices that can give you a chance to use every single day very wisely, dismantling a little bit at a time, and then beginning to experience the miraculous even in the mundane. So that's that kingdom of heaven. That's the grace that we have. It's actually part of the grace as humans is that we can't see ourselves and that we do need one another. Otherwise, if we could do it all alone, our species would end. And we can't do it alone. So we do actually need the light of other people to help us to dismantle all these pieces. But as we do it systematically, and then we teach others, we share, we become worthy through service. Service is one of the biggest steps we have to take. And it can be any kind of service, but that generous step of serving animals, serving the earth, serving humanity in one way, shape, or form. that service is also part of the process of dismantling what is not us. People don't realize it, but when you are in service, you're actually dismantling some of the structures inside of you. So it's not all mental and psychological processes.
Mm-hmm.
It is action based too. Pure action creates a lot of power in the world, and power is light. But that's how I perceive how this works.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Yeah, very clear. I love the simplicity that you bring to in the sense that you make it so understandable when this is such a vast and pretty complex topic, but you make it very accessible, and it sounds simple in your through your speaking. So thank you so much for that. One question that I have, Elizabeth, what are the most important factors to consider in our creation of a more heavenly world?
Yeah, so first and foremost, I want people to, these are the biggest blocks I've seen with communities like ours.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been doing this for a long time, almost 2 decades. So I have some good insight. But one of the things that blocks people is that they keep believing that the process of manifesting has been settled, as if science can be settled, which is not possible. That's not the nature of science. But the idea that manifesting is a set process and that even works. I want people to drop that whole idea. Manifesting is an old French word for basically projection. And projection is not what you want in the world. You don't want to be projecting your fears and desires into the world. That's not going to get you where you really want. That's not how we build the kingdom of heaven. Instead, you got to go inward, and the opposite of manifesting, which is the correct way to do things, is called synchrony, to sync up, syncing up with divine order, which means that you surrender everything. So every suffering is actually basically like money. So that's the second piece. I want people to understand that suffering is basically like money. It's really dense energy, and you can spend it. You can spend your ancestors' suffering, so you're incredibly wealthy and people don't know it. And so you can spend it. You can take your suffering, you can offer it up to Source God, and you can actually make miracles happen. That's part of this process of generosity and abundance, the wheel that turns. You can never, ever have abundance without generosity. You have to give energy to get it. It's part of the laws of the divine law. And so in your attempt at being able to sync up and not project your fears and desires into the world, well, then how do you get anything done? Well, every desire you have, too, is also really valuable, and you ought to hand it off, because our minds can only imagine so much, but Source God has the ultimate imagination. And when you present it to Source and you surrender everything over and over and over again and say, let it be so in divine order, let it be so in divine timing. And we use our words as our wand to create reality. But we create reality by syncing up with what is the divine already, with the assumption that you will never know what you don't know, and that your knowing is incredibly limited, and so you surrender all knowing, you surrender all perception and all feeling to the divine. By doing that, then, now you've stepped into what it feels like to actually be in natural law. The other thing I want to bring people's attention to is that you can't escape the 3D. I want you to fall in love with the 3D again. We used to love the 3D when we were little, very tiny, and we didn't have so much conditioning. We had a deep, incredible love of the 3D. And so many people want to escape the 3D, and they're being lied to and told that we're all going to go to the fifth dimension and stuff like that. And that, to me, tells me immediately that most of those people telling you that don't have any idea what the dimensions are at all. And that the fifth dimension is not actually the best one in any way, shape, or form. It's the first dimension that's the most important. So if you want to fall in love with the 3D again, you got to stop orienting yourself in the 3D. You don't arise from the 3D. That's not where you come from. You come from the first dimension. You come from your I am presence. You are not your body. You are an immense presence that maintains its awareness literally beyond the universe. And that presence moves through that first dimension. And if you can embrace the I am that is much bigger than your body, if you embrace that, then you get to recognize all the very beautiful, intimate connections that then also create the 3D, and you can fall in love with the 3D again. Because again, we've been oriented there. We keep believing that we are our own bodies. So real quick reiteration. We need to be finished with this idea of manifesting and replace it with synchronization with the divine, which is done through surrender. Surrender of your suffering, spend it like money, create miracles. Say, take this sadness from my heart source and turn it into miracles for all of the people on this planet that are sad. And watch your life change, because that's an act of service. You don't have to go around serving in a soup kitchen or cleaning up at the dog shelter or whatever. You could do that, yes, that's part of service. But actually just offering up your suffering, your fears, your desires to God are actually just as powerful, if not more powerful. And then furthermore, recognize that the 3D is not bad. It's that your relationship with it has been distorted because you keep believing that you are a body. And once you stop that and you back up deeper into who you really are, and you say, well, I am. I am not Elizabeth. That's the name of my body. I am. I exist. I am that living frequency that's unique in this universe. I exist on the keyboard that is God's beautiful instrument. And I exist. So therefore, my relationship with my body, my relationship with all the other beings around me is very holy and precious because that's its nature from the beginning. Then the 3D starts to look a lot more beautiful, a lot happier, and a lot less difficult. It doesn't mean we remove pain. It's that we actually revalue suffering and pain. And that's the last piece. Revalue your suffering and pain. Get out of this idea that we need to escape all of that. Stop believing that we're going to be saved by some other dimension or some ships or aliens or whomever. Don't externalize your power. So you are absolutely part of the creation of the universe. It cannot exist without your awareness. That's how precious your I am presence really is. And then begin to be open to learning more about the true nature of the dimensions of consciousness so that they can serve you and that you can actually utilize them properly instead of trying to run away from anything. So remember that your suffering has created immense amounts of compassion and immense amounts of skill and innovation. And that's exactly what we are here to use to build the new world and to build the kingdom of heaven from the inside. When you begin to perceive your thoughts, your words, and your deeds as the precious actions of someone who's deeply and 100% arising from divinity itself, then you begin to love yourself a lot more different and love everyone else around you more deeply in a different way. So that's how I think that if we can start with those pieces, which I've seen our communities really suffer from some of these false ideas, then I believe that we can actually skyrocket all of our evolution combined if we are willing.
Yeah. I'm wondering if the whole manifestation thing has been kind of implanted there as a way to sabotage us, right? To get so many people on board. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Thank you for confirming, because that makes it makes sense in a weird way, but I mean not in a weird way.
I just would encourage people to go and look for themselves, right? Go look for yourself. Don't take our word for it. Look at the origins of that idea of manifesting and go look at who exactly and who they were affiliated with, who exactly was telling people that, and you'll see for yourself.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. So, yeah, it's all within us, and as you said, bringing ourselves into synchrony with the divine order, the grace, and the natural law. That's the that's what's at stake. That's the path. That's the path, right? Rather than even trying
It's our
anything else.
destiny.
It's our destiny. Okay, thank you for that. So with that, are there essential practices? Let's get practical. How do we do that? Are there practices that can be most helpful for us to create a new life, a life in the kingdom of heaven?
Yes, absolutely. So first and foremost, embrace the fact that you are the I am presence that is immortal. And that's what you're attempting to realign your body and your very natural, wonderful ego. I don't want to throw the ego out. The ego can be healed and can do its job, which its job has basically always been to help you survive and thrive on this planet. And so we need to re-love our ego a little bit here. But your job is to get your awareness from the I am presence and let that awareness then show you what needs to be dismantled first in your thoughts, and then in your words, and then in your deeds. And when you clean up the thoughts, that's where you get most of what we would say in the U.S. we say bang for your buck. So if you want the best, fastest, easiest methods to get yourself aligned back into natural law so that you can feel it, because you're already there. Again, you're already there. You're trying to dismantle the jail inside of you and the jail outside of you so that you can embrace what's beneath your feet, what's already available. So first and foremost, you need to recognize what are the structures in your ego that are blocking you the most. And that's going to be judgment, it's going to be expectations, attachments, and resistance. And those things need to be examined through the recognition that those actually are really powerful skills, but they've been distorted by trauma. So what we do is say, all right, let's say I have a judgmental thought. Oh, that lady, she's really crazy, right? We have a judgmental thought. Well, why would I say that? It's because I've had trauma with someone who's had similar traumas or personality traits that come from trauma, because trauma begets trauma. So then I make a judgment on people who are like that from my experience, even if I don't remember everything fully. It's all in your subconscious. So we say, all right, well, what would be the healed outcome? Let's say I go in and I say, all right, I made a judgment, and that's from trauma. Trauma's distorting what? What's the superpower on the other side of judgment? Well, it's discernment. So the unhealed version of discernment is judgment. And discernment being run through the lens of trauma creates judgment. So I got to go dig into those traumas, and I got to say, well, what is it about these people that I would call them all crazy exactly? What experiences have I had? Oh, well, I had that one teacher or that one neighbor or my mom or my dad or whatever that acted like that, and it was really painful. And so we go and find that part of ourselves, and we love them. We give them the other side of the polarity. Now, this sounds like it's difficult, but once you get used to it, it happens quite quickly. You can do the same for attachment, which the other side, the healed version of attachment, is unconditional love. But we're especially attached to outcomes. And so we have to relinquish all of that and allow the divine to flow through all things beyond our knowing. And then what's the healed version of expectations? Well, that's being present. Deeply present. Otherwise, you're leaking energy from your trauma from the past or your fears about the future. And then the other side of resistance is surrender. So you already have these natural skills from your soul to be unconditionally loving, to be unconditionally present, to be discerning without bounds, and to be 100% available and to complete and total surrender to the divine. If that's your true nature, then all of the other stuff is related to really specific moments in your life that have hurt you. Now, here's the thing. You don't have to go remember all of those things. What you need to know is what the feelings are that get elicited because those intelligent emotional frequencies are pointing to a polarity. So people sometimes they'll ask me, Sophie, like, where's the joy? I've had all these terrible things happen, but where's the joy in my life? When is God going to give me joy? My friends, you are an actor of God's grace. You are a vessel of it. It's you who gets to give yourself that joy. So you go take that part of you. Maybe they're 5, maybe they're 50. It doesn't matter. It could have happened last week, some trauma. And eventually you do end up in upkeep, because we're not here to avoid trauma. We're here to be able to keep dealing with it in the moment with great clarity, so that we can navigate it and use it for information. But what we do is we say, all right, if I felt like my needs weren't getting met, and that judgment came out here, it's because I fear people being crazy, because I got hurt by people who acted like that. So there's a part of me, multiple parts perhaps, that are traumatized. So I got to go get them. And what do they need? Because they didn't get their needs met. Oh, well, I need to feel safe. I need to feel like people are going to listen to me. So then you take that part of yourself. Maybe they're 5, maybe they're 50, maybe they're 15. And maybe you do all of those parts of yourself. But if you do that, then you're going to get a lot more out of this. And then you give them the joy. You give them the other side. You meet their needs. You take them through the imaging of your mind and through your heart. You take them to a beautiful place where they get all their needs met. Now, why does this work? Because the imagination is real. That's the 4th dimension. It is not fake. You can't make anything up. The universe has already been made. You're not imagining anything new. People say things like, oh, maybe it's just my imagination. That's brainwashing from the darkness, from the dark order, who wants you to minimize the power of your imagination. And even if you can't visualize stuff very well, you can feel it. You can go take that part of you and meet their needs. And when you do, you collapse the trauma, and the trauma distortion is removed from your awareness field. It gets neutralized. And so then you're cleaning up your DNA. You're cleaning up that DNA so that your light can shine through. And you're going to have breakthroughs. You're going to have moments where then everything changes, because now your light is very powerful, and it's bringing stuff up for other people too. When we shine the light, it can bring up all the other different kinds of problems and traumas in others as well. And it causes people around us to either have to shift and change and heal, or leave. So that's why a lot of people will go through a lot of healing, and then their marriage falls apart. And that happened to me. Or that their friendships completely fall apart. Also happened to me. and yet it's perfectly in divine order, because those folks couldn't continue to work with your trauma anymore. They couldn't continue to control you using trauma anymore. That's the number one, most simple skill I could tell that everyone that will give you the most change, is for you to keep tracking your own thoughts. Keep tracking whether you expect things, or you're attached to outcomes, or if you're judging people, or if you find resistance in your body. All of that is giving you a clue of the structures of distortion that are based in the trauma in your body. And if you follow them, and if you are careful and you ask the right question, what are the needs here in my fear or my reaction? What are the needs that are not getting met? How old is this part of me? Are there multiple parts of me? Can I take them and can I show them something else? Can I give them a new experience? And then you meet your own needs. You're reparenting yourself. You're refriending yourself. And then your body begins to change, because your ego no longer can drive the car. Now it's your soul that's driving. Now your soul's in charge. And your mind begins to become more silent, and you begin to have less reactions to things. You have less emotional charge to most of the things that normally would have had charge to them. And you attract far less trauma in your life. It doesn't mean you're not going to have trauma. It means that it's going to not be the same kind. It's going to be much more refined trauma. Refined moments of events. And then you're going to learn more and more and more, and you're going to see, wow, it's true. I can navigate this trauma quite quickly and turn it into
Mm-hmm.
breakthroughs, because all I have to do is balance out the polarity. I can give myself the nourishing light, the beauty, the love, the respect, the kindness, the listening, all of it, the joy that I've really been wanting. I can give it to myself because the universe is at my fingertips, and all I have to do is imagine it. And then I can be healed. That's us building the kingdom of heaven on the inside. And then it does actually flood the entire life with light, so that there is a heaven around you too, and better relationships by far can occur. So I'm going through this stuff too. It's very, very literal, and I'm doing it, and what I'm saying is true because I care about measurable results as a scientist. And so these things, if you really work at this, you're going to find that these things happen for you too. So that's I've tried to simplify it, but basically trust that you can absolutely give yourself all of the things that you could not receive in your life and meet those needs. And when you do, you can dismantle and neutralize the trauma, and therefore get all your cool superpowers of discernment and love and presence and surrender that give you a better life.
Thank you. Wow. Yes. Listening to you, I was feeling how this sounds so true, and you are so convincing, and it is, as you just said, you are going through it because you know it is truth, right? You're not just talking theory or something like
No, it's action.
right?
It's action
Yeah,
based.
exactly.
We're experimenting together. Yep.
Which is why it makes so much sense and it feels so true because it is true. So thank you for that. And I find it very uplifting, even though you're not telling us, oh, there will never be trauma and just get around it and pass through. No, you're being very real with us. But I find it very uplifting already what you've just shared. Let's get even more an uplift with you, Elizabeth. What are, let's say, 3 things that we all have to look for right now? Look forward to, not look for.
Oh yeah,
look
looking forward to.
Yeah.
3 things to look forward to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I'm here for the humans, so it's going to be oriented towards human beings right now. And then one of them is going to be about the earth. But the first one is that, hey, we're right on the verge of full disclosure. And that means that finally, all of us who have been really concerned about the true history and nature of human beings and our galactic origins, our galactic history, we are validated. That's happening right now. We have probably one of the most extraordinary spaceships that we've ever seen. We've never seen anything like it in the sky, 3i Atlas, right now. And it is so extraordinary. It is such a powerful moment in time. All of us should be really, really coming together and celebrating right now around this. And I don't know if the spaceship's, good guys or bad guys. It doesn't matter. What matters is it's a global awareness and a phenomena that cannot be hidden. And it's incredibly amazing. So, full disclosure, what does that mean? That means that we get validated as a species who is not only not alone, but we have incredible brothers and sisters in this galaxy. And we have an incredible history. And that is going to change everything when we finally get our access to our true history, which there's been lots of people, myself included, who try to offer all that and care about that. But that validation gives us a chance to really, really question our origins and to recognize how precious our human bodies are. And one of the things I notice that hurts humans the most is this human hatred programming, where we're taught to hate each other, we're taught to hate ourselves, we're taught to hate our bodies. And I want to end that. And by looking to the sky at the moment and recognizing that there's these really amazing things pointing to our galactic incredible origins and the truth of our nature, and that it's basically already showing us that everything we thought we knew is that we've been lied to, and that we can embrace the truth currently. That's huge. That can help us all come together and appreciate and love ourselves. That's why I think disclosure is so important. It's actually because of that. It's so that we can love ourselves more than we have. The second thing people have to look forward to is that during this continued pole shift, we're looking at the poles flipping, probably in about 10 years or so. Maybe a little bit more, maybe less. But that's huge. That's a massive event. It's a reset. And we are right on the verge of massive breakthroughs of consciousness that are happening right before our eyes. And for you as a human being who might consider themselves normal or sensitive, or that might not know your place here on Earth fully yet, this is a time for you to open up to all of this incredible light. So the electromagnetic field is disappearing right now. It's between 30 or 40% gone. We're not totally sure because a lot of that data has been hidden from us for a while. But that means that we're getting actually a huge amount of light from the stars, from the sun, and from outer space, from the galaxy. And that light creates change. It creates evolution. All different new kinds of light. So if people are feeling like frustrated and sick and they feel like they're going crazy, it's because of that. That's why surrender is so important. But this light is very, very real. It's measurable. It's powerful. And I'm here on the equator, so I'm closer to it than other people. And I can tell you 100% that it's absolutely very real. And that it makes the whole entire existence of our humanity and nature and the earth sparkle. It really is an influx of great power, and it's turning on all of our DNA. So that's why I have a lot of clients and old friends from like high school, from like 25 years ago, calling me up and saying, "Oh my gosh, I'm starting to be psychic, Elizabeth." And because I'd warned them when I was a teenager, I warned people. I said, "Look, later in the future, all of you are going to be like me." And when that happens, if you need help, call me. And that literally happened. And I have friends calling me going, "My kids are psychic. I'm psychic. What is going on? I don't know how this is working." Because all the superpowers of human beings are being ignited. It's not just the psychic skill. It's many, many other skills. We have 144,000 superpowers that are possible for us as humans. So we're really, really cool. And that amazing set of realizations and skills coming to the forefront, that's happening right this minute, and it will continue to ramp up. And that's what part of the awakening process is for humankind. And then the last good news is that the Earth is awakening too. She too is absorbing all of this light and becoming more powerful. And she too loves human beings, loves us. We'd be done for her ages ago if she didn't. She's 100% in the game with humanity. And she wants us to become that iteration, because our Homo luminous version of ourselves can actually protect her with our awareness and our light too. Other people have seen this for a very long time. Some of you might have been hearing about things like that, like the grid of light, that all these awake humans on Earth create this grid of light, and that we can protect our planet with our awareness field. That's 100% true. So we have a chance to have a totally new relationship with the Earth, where she protects us and we protect her, and we all stand in solidarity with our precious planet, who 100% came into this creation with us so that we could do this together. And it's not us versus her. It's not at all like that. It's that we are married. Our bodies come from Earth and go home back to her. And we are 100% part of her awareness too. So she's going through that as well. And with her, we can do it. And we can help her. We can protect her. And we can stand in that unity. So I believe unity consciousness and solidarity, the superpowers of the new human, all of these are literally in our fingertips right now. The next 5 years, it's time for you to absolutely step into that. I don't care how old you are, and it doesn't matter what kinds of traumas you've had, or whether you're sick in bed or in the greatest shape of your life. Either way, your consciousness can change everything. You can change your body. You can heal everything. You can heal the people around you. And one of the most important things, and I'm watching it happen because we know that a lot of people are checking out right now, and they will continue to. But there's a lot of people on Earth. But those people who are willing to have a conscious death is one of the most powerful things humans can actually achieve in consciousness. And that actually is supporting all of us. So all of our loved ones who've been checking out, and they will continue to, as they do, and they do it consciously, they're supporting us in our evolution to become this new species as well. So we have everything going for us, my friends. Everything. Anything that you can look around and say, well, that's not going for us, the politics, whatever, you're wrong. All that politics is being revealed to be what it is. It's a big stage play. And we all can see it really clearly. It doesn't matter what you believe. You can see it for yourself, how clear it is. It's a big stage play. You can say that about all these different wars. That's waking people up. You could say that about all the different big pharma stuff that's happened to us over the past decade. It's waking people up. All the pressure that humans have been put under are waking everyone up. So don't believe what you're being told on the TV. It's brainwashing. Instead, really look for yourself. Everyone is starting to become hyper aware of the matrix as it's falling apart. And it cannot exist anymore the way that it was. It's over. It's over now. So that's where we're at. That's the good news, is that you are on the same page as so many people right now who feel alone, but you're not alone. None of us are alone. We have Indra's net. So tap in with your heart to this truth. Tap into all of those people who are really doing their best every day, trying to be the best human they can be, trying to find ways to create more love, or at least just to be able to have enough energy to get out of bed and do what they need to do. All of us are striving, and all of us count. All of us count in consciousness. So if you're aware, if you can tap into your heart and be aware of that collective power, then that helps everybody else too. That's what you can do with the data I'm giving you and the good news that's on the table right now.
Very good news indeed. Yes. Wow. Thank you. Oh, I think that all that you've shared so far is really such a chunk of perspectives, higher perspectives and guidance, and pumping us up with those good perspectives, and realigning, like sending away some myths, just like the one of competition, right? So sorting our beliefs, sorting them out. This is a whole chunk of insights that we'll certainly want to return to. I will return to the replay and make lots of notes for those moments, because a lot of what you share really resonate, and I hold it to be true usually, and probably that's the case for many listening. And every now and then I have those moments when suddenly it takes me like, what if I were totally delusional? What if in believing this, I'm totally delusional? And when I start going that way, everything falls apart. But in a way, I have to allow this to be true, if only for a moment, like to be possible, not to be true, but to be possible. And what if? And so hearing you, and with the vibration of truth that you bring is really, I'm going to make notes, and that in those moments when if I ever get to question, am I being delusional, or maybe your words will resonate within me. If not, in my ears, I will go back to my notes and remember what you shared with us.
You know what I do when that comes up? Because it comes up for everybody, including me. Mm-hmm. Is like step back into my I am presence. And I say, if there's nothing else that I'm sure is true or not, the one thing I know that is true is that I am. I am, I exist. And that I am is beyond my body. And it gives my body a chance to relax, because
Right.
then my soul, which is the I am, can drive the car. And my soul can perceive these things to be true. And my body and my egoic structure are distorted with trauma, so they are not able to navigate like the soul can. And so every time I go back to the I am. I have no past, I have no future, because I've never died. I've never began and I've never ended. Therefore I am, and I exist. And so it's my duty to simply be right here, present 100% in this very moment. There is nothing more than this moment. And then we get into presence, then we get into discernment, then we get into love, and we get into being able to surrender to that moment, each moment, one at a time. And so just start there. When we feel delusional, that's because the body's confused and the mind is confused. It's wondering who's driving the car. So you got to step back and allow your I am presence, the soul, to drive. And when you do that, then your body frees itself from the resistance. It frees itself from feeling this total discomfort in the 3D instead of amazement.
Thank you. That's a great solution, I would say, our approach, our way to handle the falling into questioning, doubt, feeling delusional, and everything. Thank you. And yeah, we will certainly remember that. Okay, so let's see, where are we going now? I think I'd like to, at this moment, before we get into tapping into your superpower as a psychic and having you offer intuitive readings for our audience, I think before we do that, I'd like to have you, Elizabeth, reveal what you've created. You've created a wonderful offering, Living in Natural Law and Divine Order. So we'd love to hear all about it. So for everyone to follow, you can go to gracefulconnections.com. That's graceful with two L's, as in full of grace, gracefulconnections.com/Festival Elizabeth, all in one word, Festival Elizabeth. gracefulconnections.com/Festival Elizabeth. If you're on the webcast, you have a button and a link. You can click there. And if you're on the replay, just scroll down the page and discover Elizabeth's special offer. Elizabeth, please reveal what you've created for our audience.
Thank you.
Yeah.
My pleasure. For those of you who are in the United States, festival in the link is spelled the European way, so it's Festival. Just so people know that. So Festival Elizabeth is actually spelled the European way.
I didn't know there was a European way of doing festival.
American English makes it weird. So.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for pressing this decision.
So I wanted to make sure everyone got as much as they possibly could when it comes to natural law, divine order, etc. And the first item in my package that I want you to be able to experience is a live retreat. My retreats tend to go for quite a while. And it's saying that it's going to be like 3 hours, but it's probably going to be more like 5 hours. Because that's usually how it goes, between 4 and 5 hours. But this next one that I'm doing, I want to give you some time to go through the other pieces too. And so the live retreat's going to be on the 26th, the Sunday, October 26th. And it'll start at 8 a.m. Pacific time. But this retreat builds on the others that I've taught, so you'll want to listen to the other 3. It'll help you a lot. And this one's all about practical. We're getting real practical, real stories, real examples, real experiences, real steps about your life, and a deeper understanding of the divine will and how exactly you can use the power of divine order in your life and begin to practice immediately, so that you don't have to try to fully grasp all of the physics of consciousness, perhaps, Although I talk a little bit about that, I'm going to go into very 3D actual living examples of how to live in natural law so that you can get excited and you have real stuff you can be doing instead of, learning about mysticism and then saying, all right, well, now what? And then how do I actually act like a mystic? So I'm going to make it as easy for you as possible to the point where my hope is that retreat will even be useful to children, because I want kids to be able to practice this too. So that's my mindset around that retreat. The second item, the next 3 items are instant access. So you have plenty of time then. You'll have them in full, and then you can go through them as you wish. The first one is a very long one, but it's really fun to listen to. I like to tell people, listen to these things in the background while you're doing other stuff, while you're cooking dinner, while you're doing laundry. Because you got to live, right? And sitting around for 6 hours listening to me might not work that well. Plus, the brain oftentimes gets really overwhelmed by multidimensionality, and I find a lot of folks will end up falling asleep, which is totally normal even in live classes, because this stuff is packed full of multidimensional light and power. It's not just me lecturing. I use my whole body, all my 12 light bodies, my whole soul, to put information out there for you. But item 2 is all about your divine rights. We know that everything's changing. It's changing fast. And if you're paying attention, you're pretty tired of all of the drama. And so I want you to know, what are your rights? What's natural law versus matrix law? Why are they different? How do they work differently? Can we actually affect reality? But what are your rights? Who are you in those rights? And there's lots and lots and lots more rights than you can possibly imagine. You go to the United Nations and you see these are the human rights, right? And they have like maybe 10 or 12, right? No. You have thousands and thousands of rights as a human being. And I want to give you a taste of that. And I also talk a lot about abundance versus manifesting, synchrony, vibration, surrender, karma, suffering, love, all these things. I talk a lot about that in that retreat too. The next item is item 3. It's the divine laws. It's another retreat that matches perfectly up with the other one. And it gives you more sense of what are the laws. What are the laws of consciousness? How does all this really work? And how do the dimensions play in all of that too? So it's very organized. I approach things as a scientist of consciousness, which is what mysticism is. And then I'm training you to be your own mystical oracle so that you can be in discernment. So you can create and receive everything that belongs to you in the divine rights. But you're going to use the right laws, the correct laws that govern reality, not the fake stuff that we've been told, but the real stuff that's measurable so that you can practice and see it for yourself. And that one's also a 6-hour long class. It's a retreat. And you're meant, again, to relax, listen to it in the background, hang out with it. If you want to sit and take notes, that's okay. But I would like to suggest that let yourself just absorb these things. It's supposed to be nourishment for your spirit. And then your brain will catch up. Trust that your brain will catch up. You don't have to follow along every tiny little piece unless you really want to, but rather allow these things to continue to inform you. You can be listening to these sorts of things anytime you want, for as long as you want, because when you purchase them, then you have instant access forever. And then the last item, item 4, I taught this in August of 2024. So it was a little bit farther back, but it was a good intro. So if you were to start with some of the older ones, I would start with this one. It's about 3.5 hours. But I get into the foundations of natural law, and I talk about, what that divine order really is and what the Homo Luminous concept is, how all the cycles have led us to finally embrace natural law versus other times, and what's going on with the Matrix. I talk about that in a really real way. So it's similar, but this one is a very good beginning spot, and then the rest goes even deeper, the other two. And then We go even deeper. At the end of this month, we go deeper into the practicality of acting in natural law. So this is everything you could want about divine order, natural law, how you are a divine human, how the kingdom of heaven is meant to look through you, how you can be doing it now. And that's the key. And then as a fast action bonus, which is, so if you purchase this package within a period of time, I believe it's until Sunday.
By Sunday
Yeah,
midnight.
by
Yes,
Sunday.
yes.
Yeah, and so
Mm-hmm.
today is Friday, so you got a couple days to think about this. But if you buy this now, then I'm going to give you one of my most popular classes, which is a bit different, but I want to give you a very powerful skill. And it's one of those superpowers that are coming online for humans that you can actually initiate in yourself right now. And this class is called Quantum Healing for Infectious Disease. It's about 4.5 hours long, and I talk about how to do quantum healing to help heal your body of especially not just infectious disease, but disease in general. That's part of your divine rights, is to be able to heal yourself and others. And I want you to be able to use light to do it, to be able to understand how to get to know your body and its problems. And that the idea that disease just happens to us randomly is not true. And I'll prove it to you in this class. I'll show you that it's not random. And that you immediately can take action to heal yourself, no matter what position you're in with illness or health. And so these are the things that I like to train people in. But this is one of those cool superpowers that we can actually utilize. But it's, again, a practical superpower. It's meant to help you heal yourself and your family. I had to consider, what do I want to give people as a bonus? And that one came up because people are afraid of disease when actually you have 100% control and power to heal all disease. So I want to give that to you. I want to make sure you know how to do that. Because once you know and you start to practice it for yourself and share it, then you're still acting in divinity in an act of service, and you're starting to create more and more wonderful abundance in your life by doing incredible healing. So that's totally possible for everyone. So that's what I wanted to make sure everybody gets this information, because it's the most important information that we could have at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Yes, so fast action bonus, take action fast. It expires on Sunday, October 5th at midnight Pacific. And I love two things I love about this piece. One is that it's not only about us receiving healing, but learning how to do it. So that's really wonderful. And as you said, it's for infectious disease, but not only infectious disease. So that's a very great addition to the whole package. I love your package, Elizabeth. I love that you are inviting us all to a live retreat. I mean, we've experienced a bit less than an hour with you when you've been sharing and teaching, and we've already received so much in less than an hour. Imagine what can happen in 4 or 5 hours. So the live retreat at the end of October, and until then, we have the 3 instant access retreats to get ourselves ready and get ourselves to the level to enter this live retreat. I was feeling how, when you were saying how, especially for the instant access retreats, that we can listen to them while we're cooking or doing something else, I'm feeling like it's about maybe as we tune in a radio, right, to catch a radio station, we can tune in to the part of ourselves that actually knows that, and that hearing your words, we get to remember the truth of what you are saying, rather than discovering. I mean, yes, to some degree it's going to be a discovery. To our consciousness it's going to be a discovery, but it's not like at the same time it's not a discovery. It's a rediscovery and a remembering, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think people will find it that way. I mean, most of the people that I have had on the retreats, when they were live, they would often say things like that, like, this feels like a deep knowing that I already have, and now it can come up to the surface. And that's exactly the case.
Wonderful. So thank you for offering that, creating that, and offering us the privilege of this live retreat on October 26th, the Life in Natural Law, where we get very practical. We're going to know how to live in natural law. So thank you so much, Elizabeth. It is very, very generously priced, and there is a PayPal for payment option available in many countries. So everybody get on board, and so we all we will meet together on the playground of natural law and juggling our divine rights and recognizing each other as we do that. Thank you, Elizabeth, for this program, creating this program.
My pleasure.
Yeah. So now talking about superpowers, let's tap into one of your superpowers as a psychic. Let's get to intuitive readings. So
My pleasure.
we all want to get your recommendations, right, on the best practices to support our healing. So for everyone, again, to request your reading, press *2 on the phone or click raise hand on the web to come on the line with Elizabeth, or place your request in the Q&A box on the webcast. And the question to ask is, what simple activity can I do for my present healing? So let's begin with some live callers, live requests, and then we'll go to the Q&A where we have many, many requests. So before we get started, I suppose that, Elizabeth, that the practices that you're going to recommend, they are not only specific to the person who asks. Anyone
No,
who
certainly not.
listens and resonates can adopt them, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So everybody, because we have so many requests, everybody is gonna be served through all the readings that are gonna be offered. So let's get started. Going to Oklahoma in the U.S. Oklahoma with Dane. I'm unmuting you, Dane. Hello. Hello, Dane.
Hi, Dane.
Hi, Dane. We cannot hear you. So I don't know. Can you do a
Yeah, I'll give a
reading
reading
for
for
Dane?
Dane. Sure.
Exactly. Okay. Wonderful.
All right.
Thank you.
So when people, when you raise your hand or when you ask the question, you're giving me permission, right, to look at you, right? And then this is how I do things, because I like people to know that this is literally, it's not like some magical thing. It's something that we can all do, actually. I just have a lot of practice at it. And so what I do is I ask Source God, show me exactly what this person needs in regarding to, say, our framework question, right? And then so I'm asking for Dane, right? And I'm asking to be shown what exactly does Dane need right now. And so what I see, Dane, first is what I'll see visuals, and it feels very real to me. I'll be able to like walk into, almost like it's kind of like walking into a big, huge 3D space, right? And I'll be able to see certain things, and God will show me details. And so one of the details that I see is that where there's density in someone's body, or in a density in a situation. So that situation will pop out to me, or that part of the body will pop out and it'll look dark. It doesn't mean it's bad. It means that there's some block there. And so the block I see is actually at your feet, Dane. And so I would say to you, I know it's coming into winter time real quick, probably in the U.S., but it's super important that you get grounded. Your body is not as well as it could be because you're not actually getting electromagnetically grounded to the earth. So you need to be barefoot on the preferably actually damp ground. Could be wettish, damp, whatever. Got to be barefoot. That's the first best way to ground. Now there's some other ways that can help, but when we are wearing plastic shoes and there's concrete and asphalt and we're in cars that are up off the ground, or we live in houses up off the ground, this has actually caused a lot of problems with the human body and the psyche and our spiritual development. And I'm not saying shoes are a conspiracy. I'm just saying that this is kind of how things have panned out, and it's been bad for us, like so many amazing things that have ended up being bad for us. So getting grounded, barefoot on the earth, bare-bodied on the earth if you can handle it. If you can't do that, then the next best thing is actually hugging trees. It sounds weird, but trees are really, really cool. Electromagnetically, you can actually put your back up against a tree, or you can put your head against a tree, and you can ask the tree to help you remove any excess. Because what happens is the electromagnetic static charge gets actually literally set up in the body so that you have excess, and that's why people feel kind of nuts, and they'll go through cycles of kind of losing it randomly, right? And we all do. Same here. And so there'll be times where I just feel like I'm just angry for no reason, or I just feel like I'm breaking down. I'm having a breakdown, a nervous breakdown. We call it a nervous breakdown, but what it really is that the body's electromagnetics have been built up so much that it has to discharge. And the way you can end that cycle is by grounding it into the earth or giving it to a tree. The third best way is to go get a grounding mat or a grounding blanket that you can actually put a grounding rod into the ground or a grounded outlet and have those on your body for periods of time. Oregon blankets or Oregon pillows on your body can help. And lastly is Epsom salt baths can actually help remove excess static discharge that is being built up in the body and causing a nervous system blowout. So that's the real actual, and it has an effect physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, real actual practical thing that I'm going to suggest to you, Dane, is to get all of this grounding and take it really seriously every day, and you're going to see a lot more stability and a lot more spiritual awakening for yourself.
Mm-hmm. All right, that's certainly for many, maybe it's even a recommendation for everyone, right? So thank you, Dane, for bringing this. And what I was thinking is that, well, certainly if you're having some of the symptoms, but also let's not even wait to be in breakdown or, nervous breakdown or nervous system breakdown. Let's make it a daily practice, just like we take shower, we brush our teeth.
That's right.
Spending a moment with the feet on the ground, or to reintegrate this as part of our way of life, like a natural a normal thing to do without waiting for reasons to do it, like specific to do it. Okay, thank you so much, Dane. I hope you got your reading and you could hear this. Okay, thank you, Elizabeth. Okay, we're going to Austria with Margaret. I hope we're going to hear you, Margaret. Hello. Yes,
hello.
Here you are. Yes, welcome.
Okay. Hi, Elizabeth. You know me, Margaret.
Of course.
Margaret, thank you.
All right, I'm going to ask for you the same question, if that's okay, Margaret.
Yes, please.
I'm seeing your household, and that I think this would be very useful to you. Try this, because what I'm seeing is bringing the elements into your home, into the physical house.
Okay.
And so if I were you, I'm literally seeing like little bowls. So get like a set of matching bowls, or they could be non-matching if you want, or something that you can bring the elements literally physically into your home. Some way. It could be that you make an altar and you bring a little bowl of earth and a little bowl of water and a little bowl of, the representation of fire, or a candle that you can light. And then you'd have another bowl for air, which you wouldn't have to go scoop up anywhere. But then if you want to, you could add one for ether, which again is also already there and available everywhere. But you also want to maybe look at the bagua, the feng shui bagua, and kind of think about which elements and colors you can be bringing into your physical household. What I see is that you're needing more physical support to make it so that you feel connected to all these elements, because you are very much a being of nature, and the elemental peace comes through your soul's memory. But it's key that you have the elements, and the household can feel separate. It can feel like this big human construction that's not natural, and it feels unreal. And that's because it is actually very new. It's not actually from nature. Humans don't build natural homes, in the modern world at least. And, in a natural home, like let's say if I took you to the Amazon, we could go see a natural home, and they have fire and water and earth and wood and ether, and they got all of that in their home, right? So to bring all of that back into your household in different ways, and in miniature ways even, in tiny little bitty ways, that maybe over by your kitchen sink, if you have a window over there, on the little windowsill, you're bringing in some of the elements. But then also embracing the bagua. The bagua is very beautiful and can have a very profound effect on your business that you've been working on. It can have a profound effect on relationships. The bagua of the home is an ancient map that's very well understood. And I've used it for many, many years with great success, helping to support the success of my business, my life, my family, and my relationships. And travel and everything.
I don't really understand what you mean. I know there is an exercise. I'm not sure, but that's called bagua.
Mm-hmm.
Feng Shui is it
Feng Shui.
Feng Shui.
Mm-hmm. Feng Shui. So you can look this up online, and the way I would look it up is look up bagua, Feng Shui bagua. So I think Feng Shui is spelled Feng, Feng, and then Shui is a separate word, Shui. And then the third word is the bagua, Bagua.
Okay.
It's a map, and it shows you orient it from your front door, and it shows you all the different corners of your home, and it divides your home up into positions that have effects on consciousness. So from the front door, the very farthest right back corner of your home, it could be an apartment even, but the farthest back right corner of your actual house is the relationship corner, right? So let me give you a quick example. One time I had a really bad neighbor. He was crazy. And I really wanted to fix my relationship with him. And I wanted to fix my marriage. And so I took the back right corner of my house, which was a dark little weird corner in my kitchen. It was really dark. And I put an extra light there, and I put a pink quartz crystal there, big one. Because pink is a very good relationship color, pink and red. So I put pink quartz there, and I just fixed that whole corner up. And not in 24 hours, my really mean neighbor, he was super nice. He'd like changed overnight. Things were okay in my marriage at that point. And is it because of what I did? Well, partly. I was taking the elements, I was taking this map of consciousness that's well known very seriously, and I was intending things to get better as well. So I had all of the above. And that's what you can be doing in your home. Take the physical part more into your hands for this month, and bring the elements in, and each bagua part of the map will have elements that are going to work best for that part. And I think you'll really enjoy this, because it's going to make your household match and support more of what you are really wanting for your life right now.
Okay. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, super
Wonderful.
fun. Have fun with it.
Yeah. Thank
really
you, Margaret. Thank you. It sounds like bringing the naturalness back into the home.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. And I think the Chinese had it pat down. They knew the map.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Wonderful. Thank you. Okay, we're going to Ocean Isle with Pamela. Hello, Pamela.
Hello.
Hi,
Thank you.
Pamela.
Hello.
I would love to have a reading.
My pleasure. Where are you located, Pamela?
I am in North Carolina.
Wonderful. All right. Let me just ask. All right. Obviously I know nothing about your situation, but there is something really important that you have to do with the trees. And trees are basically like big transmitter receivers for the planet. And they work with an integrated internet that is a fungal internet, a mushroom internet. And you know that. But the trees are also very concerned, obviously, about human beings. And so they have this very gentle, interesting relationship with humans, even though we're pretty rough with the trees. What I'm seeing is a practice you can take right now and throughout the winter and then into the spring so that you can see some of the differences between what the trees can offer you. Is you're going to have a mutual benefit relationship with as many trees as you can connect with. And they're going to be big ones. North Carolina has some really nice big trees all over the place. And so just ask Source, set me up with the right trees. I need to go connect to this network. And these are sentries. We're literally going to call them sentries, sentient trees. Sentries, right? So the word sentry means guard, but we're also combining, in a playful way, sentient trees. And so these sentries are guards. They're guards of certain ideas, secrets, knowledge from the earth that need to be seen, that need to be heard, that need to be felt. So your job is to be a receiver of their transmissions and to go sit with whatever trees show up in your awareness field that just shine. You might be wandering around downtown, wherever, and there's this big, huge, enormous tree that just says, come and get me, Pamela, come and hang out with me, I got stuff to share, right? And trees are very generous because they can't move, so they're quite happy for us kind of, movable beings to come and tap into what they have. Because they're just waiting. They're like big mountains with lots of data. So if I were you, I would very systematically, whenever it feels right, whenever it shows up, whenever the tree just kind of waves at you and says, come over and talk with me, to go sit and talk with the trees. Let them show you things. Be open. There's no framework for the precision of whatever data you're here to receive from them. But really be open. Be open to the fact that you are a receiver and transmitter like they are, and that you're there to receive some really interesting things that need to be revealed. It's perfectly in divine timing, because you couldn't do this before as easily because there wasn't as much light sort of pushing this stuff to the surface. But now there is, and it's opening a lot of doorways in the earth for information to be available, and the trees are the ones who can be the transmitters of that information. And I would take a notebook with you, a little one that you kind of carry with you in your purse. And there's probably trees in your yard that you already have a relationship with, and you can start there. But be open, be wide open, and notice this network and how much information they really have, because they have an immense amount of dreaming capability. And they are very, very psychic beings, these trees are. But they have a lot to share. So I think it's going to help you up-level some of your skills that are coming online, to recognize that you are 100% able to tap into these big bodies of wisdom and knowledge beyond your knowing. So you don't show up knowing what you think you know. It's the other way around. You show up and say, I don't know what I don't know. Show me what is necessary. Show me what's in divine order. And then be open to what the trees have to give you. And you'll be shocked and surprised at what they have to share.
Wow, thank you. I will
Yeah. How magical. I love it. I love it for you, Pamela, and I'm taking the invitation as well. One side question I want to ask Elizabeth: does it require physical contact, or for Pamela and for everyone who wants to do? It's better. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because when you go and you really start to get to know these beings, these trees, it's a very physical relationship. Again, because they can't move around, so they depend on us movable beings to show up. But they can remove huge amounts of dark energy from your body. They can remove extra static and build up. They can remove mental mental pressure and emotional pressure. They can open you up. And you want to physically feel that. So even if you're not well and you can't get around very well or whatever, it's even just getting up close to a tree and putting your hand on the tree is good enough for that. And then they have so much to share, so they can remove a lot of stuff blocking you in your field, but they have all this data. Some of the most profound visions I've ever had were because I decided to sit and actually listen to a tree. And the tree showed me its experience of time, which was actually outside of time. And it was life-changing for me. So there's so much to learn from them.
Wow, very inspiring. Thank you, Pamela. Thank you for bringing this for yourself and the inspiration for everyone who feels inspired as well with the practice. And thank you, Elizabeth. Wonderful. Blessings to you, Pamela. Okay, we are going to Vancouver with Deborah.
Hello.
Hello. Hi, Deborah.
Hello. Hi. I would love a reading.
Love
a reading.
Sure, you got it.
For everyone.
Oh, yes. Well, focusing in on you and just asking Source to show me, what is it that you need to know the most at the moment? So are you in Vancouver, Washington, or Vancouver, Canada?
Canada.
Uh-huh. So where you're at is showing me this very powerful relationship with the water, right? And the water in that particular area, now I'm from the Northwest, from Olympia in Seattle area. And so I'm aware of the quality and the power of the ocean there. And it's unlike any other place in the world because its relationship, the way that the ocean has a relationship with the inner part of the land is unique. A lot of that water comes in and it meets the very fresh water coming off the mountains and the glaciers, and then these incredible beings that we know as salmon, they bridge the world of the fresh water and the salt water, and the bodies of the salmon have an intimate relationship with the trees, which are why the trees in the Northwest in that area in Canada and the United States are so big, and they're so unique. And then we have the mountain ranges as well, and all of the very powerful consciousness there. And so what I'm seeing is that you're being asked to do some special kinds of meditation. And this kind of meditation is where you become one with the land. You become one with the mountain ranges and the forest and the salmon and the relationship that they have with the trees and the ocean, and you become one with the ocean, and you allow the cycles of the land that's beneath your feet to really show you how they flow in natural law. So for you, natural law, it's the way I talk about it is very mental, because that's where most of my energy runs, is through the mind and the third eye and all of that. But for most folks who are not as psychic or not as mental, they need to be able to feel natural law. And this meditation is a cycle meditation. So anyone can do this where you're at. You can ask the land to show you the cycles that land produces that has been there for many eons, and the relationship that those animals and plants and the sea and the land have with each other. But to embrace them in the heart space and let the heart go through the cycle. Let the heart become the rivers and the glaciers, the salmon, the trees, the ocean, the rain, the mountains, and then all of that cycle, everything hugging each other in this really intimate relationship. For you, you need to feel natural law. Thinking about it's not going to do what you really need done in your body. You need to feel it. So meditate on the cycle that is actually happening around you so that you can surrender to it. And it's going to make you feel so wonderful, so free, because you'll find that you yourself had been the one separating from that cycle that was around you, that wasn't your nature. And that when you let your body, through feeling the cycle and meditating on it, allowing it to move through you, instead of trying to get to know it or make sense of it or control it or anything, you're letting yourself surrender to it. So what I see is sort of a shortcut for you into a state of formlessness, where you can feel the cycles around you, and then the natural law begins to move through you. Your divinity moves through you by feeling the cycles around you. Does that make sense?
Oh, totally. When I go hiking in the mountains or next to the ocean, the Pacific Ocean, and see the whales and the dolphins, I just feel like, oh my God, I've come home.
Yeah, exactly. But we want to make that a permanent state. And so this is your ticket to making it permanent, where you can go back home and still feel it. And you can be cooking breakfast and still feel it. You can pet the cat and you're still feeling it. You can have an argument with somebody and you're still feeling it. Right? So this is your ticket to making it permanent, to being home permanently. You can be home. You can arrive home while still living a life.
Yes, that makes totally sense. That's what I've been practicing.
Love it, love it. Try this and see how it feels.
Yeah, that makes so sense. I didn't know the salmon were the bridge between the freshwater river going down from Mount Seymour and Grouse Mountain into the Pacific Ocean. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. I've never heard that before. And I've also been trying to get in touch with all the indigenous tribes that are on this that live here in North Vancouver. And every morning I try to honor them and respect their
fantastic,
their energy, and try to embody that when I'm around them. I just get I get so excited when I'm around them.
Yeah, and if you
You're doing the right thing.
If you get a chance to talk to them, you'll see ask them about the sacred nature of the salmon.
Oh, perfect.
And you'll see what I'm talking about. They know all of that.
Wow, that makes
sense. And ask them the same question. Say, how do you allow the cycles of nature to move through you? Like what practices or traditions or rituals or thought processes do you have? And you'll see that this is all sort of already there inside of you. That it's going to help you to make this state of oneness permanent.
Oh, awesome.
Wonderful.
Oh, so exciting.
Thank you. Yeah.
I love this.
I love you, Elizabeth. You're amazing. I've been following you for 10 years. You're amazing.
Oh, that's so great. Thank you so much.
Wow.
Thank you. Brilliant.
Wow.
Thank
you. And love to everyone on the call. Thank you, Sophie, and everyone on the call.
And love to you, Deborah. Thank you.
Blessings.
Blessings to you. Thank you.
Thank
and
you.
I love what came through also this, especially, including this specific aspect of feeling the need to feel the natural law. I think this may resonate with many as well.
Absolutely.
That it's not so much, for some, it may not be something to work out from the mind or with the mind, but something to attune to, right back to the radio station and tuning into the radio station of natural law, and then being at home in all the time, permanently and constantly.
Right.
So
That's
I love
why
it.
I say listen to the retreats as just nourishment. You don't need to worry about the mental part. You feel it. That's more important.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you. Okay, how are you doing with time and your energy,
I got plenty
Elizabeth?
of time.
Good.
Yep.
Okay, we're good to keep going. A few more readings. I'd like to go to the Q&A because we have so many requests there. So thank you everyone for your interest and all your requests. We're gonna go to Kalispell, that's in Montana, with Tara. So for Tara in Kalispell, what simple activity can Tara do for her present healing?
Wonderful. Yeah, I know Kalispell. And that's a very powerful place, full of wonderful mountains. Good. So I'm asking for Tara here. So Tara, I see you bringing natural law and bringing some of your superpowers online by doing some what we might call artistic mimicking of the energies around you. So you could make what are called vignettes, or you could paint little paintings or have a notebook. Now, it doesn't matter if you're artistically inclined or not. These things are not meant to be perfect. They're meant to elicit a subconscious healing. So I don't care if it's just stick figures. If you take just 10 minutes a day, 10, 15 minutes a day, that's how little time you really need to do this. This will help clean up the subconscious. And you're asking nature around you to show you something, a form, a color, a feeling, but you've got to tap into nature. Nature is where natural law arises, right? And human beings, we feel separated from nature because that was falsely done in order to control us. And so to undo that damage, we have to fall in love and connect back into the subtleties that nature offers. So every day you go outside for 15 minutes and you go wander around your yard and you go find either like little bitty things like little stones and sticks and leaves and flowers and pieces of grass and feathers and all those sorts of things, and you make a little miniature artistic, what's called a vignette. You can put it in your house. Maybe you have a special spot in your house to do that, and it changes every day. It changes every day. And you could also have a notebook where you go and you draw some of these things. You draw a little thing, and you just ask, whatever this form offers, I want to feel into the form of this object. Maybe it's a stick or a leaf or a bug or a flower or a feather. And you're just asking about the form. Like, I want to understand this form. And I want to get to know it in a way that's beyond my mind. So what this does is it trains a different part of your embodiment to come back online. It's a part of you that used to exist, especially us when we were children, when we could go pick up a stick and be like, this is the coolest stick, right? I'm always surprised because I'll take my daughter, my littlest daughter, to like the river or something, and she'll pick up like the weirdest looking rocks that, to me, I like all those really shiny, sparkly rocks, but she likes the really plain ones. She likes the ones that no one else would like. And she'll come and bring me this pile of what my brain says is mundane rocks, but she sees amazing stuff in these rocks, right? And I just love it because it's so totally opposite of the things that I would be finding on the beach. And so I want you to find that part of yourself that can actually really see and really notice the very subtle aspects of nature around you. And you bring it into an artistic way. So you're either trying to draw the form or painting it, perhaps watercolor, or make little vignettes. You collect all these little things and make a little miniature mandala on your altar or on your table or wherever you want, right? And every day you make a new one. And what this does is it cultivates an intimate relationship with the form of nature that's available around you. And it gives you a chance to very meditatively seek out forms that are interesting, thus giving you a natural reconnection to natural law around you, because those forms are natural. Feathers are natural. Rocks and sticks and leaves and all these things come from nature. They come from natural law. And so you're bringing that back into your life a little bit at a time. And you're not meant to sit there and think about it so much as you're supposed to feel it. You're supposed to feel the form and just notice it. It will do very subtle, very, very gentle healing on your subconscious and bring back some of that childlike wonder that you've been missing. So I think that will be a very powerful set of skills that you can cultivate, and you can involve your family in it too. And see if the people in your house want to help you build your vignette each day. Now everybody gets to find some fascinating form that inspires them. And you'll be surprised at how these different forms actually affect you, how they heal you, what kind of effect they have on your psyche. So be open to this and see what happens.
Wow. That sounds totally magical as well. I love all those practices that you're bringing forth. Thank you, Tara. Thank you for bringing this. Enjoy the practice. Let's go to Slovenia with Matea. For Matea, what
Wonderful.
simple activity for his present healing?
So there's something around food coming up here. And now, Matea, I know that you eat very clean already, and it's not even about that. It's about this very unique, very primordial relationship that humans have with food. So if we're seeking things that can help us heal, and even better, help us connect to the divine will and natural law, then pretty much every part of our life has to be examined. And when it comes to our relationship with food, this one will be interesting. So my suggestion to you is to fall in love with your food again and all of the ingredients. So let me give you an example. So my boyfriend's the cook in the house because I'm working a lot and the kids are in school, so he's often cooking for us. And he's never lived in Ecuador before, so this past year he's learning about all these new ingredients and things that are available. And he's had to take this very difficult chore, because cooking 3 meals a day is a lot of work. He's happened to take this chore and turn it into something beautiful, something that he really enjoys. And so he's had to fall in love with the ingredients again. And what I want to suggest is that you take it to a whole other level. I want you to have some spiritual conversations with your celery. Have some spiritual conversations with your fruit and whatever you're eating, your cheese, your slice of meat, whatever it might be. And really sit down and kind of say something simple like, well, tell me your true nature. Tell me one thing about your true nature, right? Maybe you have 5 ingredients. Maybe you're making like a really nice quinoa salad and it's got 3 different kinds of peppers and some feta cheese and some quinoa and some olive oil. So you could actually hold that bottle of olive oil. This taps into multiple skills that we have as humans. First off, everything is conscious. Every single thing, your fork, the tiles on your floor, the celery, it's all conscious. It's all conscious. The idea that all this consciousness just arose out of nowhere as random is not true, and we're going to have to relearn all of our origins. But the fact is it's all conscious. So you can take that bottle of olive oil and say, what's one thing spiritually, bottle of oil, with great honor I ask you, tell me one thing about you, something about your nature that I have never grasped before. And then be open to what pops up. Say the same thing to each of the peppers and the feta cheese, the quinoa, the celery. My boyfriend, he went to the store and he bought this huge giant flat of duck eggs because he said they didn't have normal chicken eggs. And I'm like, why did you buy duck eggs? And he's like, well, that's all they had. And he's like, well, are they that different from chicken eggs? I'm like, yeah. They're very different. And I noticed it's because he was just kind of buying whatever. And I said to him, all right, next time, go feel into the ingredients. Go feel into it. You'll be able to psychically feel the difference between the duck eggs and the chicken eggs, because duck eggs are bigger and richer and they're very different. And I said, so feel into your ingredients like your palette. Don't just go off of a list. Go off of this magical palette of different colors of paint, different energies, and have a new relationship with your food as living things who are there happily nourishing you because they want to. It was their divine duty to show up in your kitchen. So that box of quinoa, that bag of quinoa or whatever, it has spiritual power. It has knowledge and wisdom. So I'm saying try to basically open yourself up to the knowledge and wisdom of the ingredients in your food each day as you also take part in creating food for yourself. You're going to nourish yourself emotionally and spiritually, not just physically, by having a conscious relationship with the food.
I love it. That's a spiritual nourishment through the food. Asking the food
It's
to
very
nourish us
interesting.
spiritually.
It kind of taps into a theme that I'm noticing today, which is we don't know what we don't know. And therefore, if you really want to grasp your true human nature, which most of us don't know, then we need to kind of get feedback from the natural world, because nature knows you. Nature knows you. The earth knows you. The earth loves human beings. I mean, go ask her yourself. People are very worried about the stupid stuff humans do. And I've said this before, perhaps even on this show, but I've talked to the earth, and everyone should too, and you can ask for yourself. But the answer that I got, because I asked her, what about plastic? Right? Because I think plastic's pretty bad. And she started laughing, and she's like, Elizabeth, don't you think that I consciously, knowingly let you borrow all that oil to turn it into novel creations like plastic? And she says, and where do you think it's all going to go in the end? And I said, back home to you. And she said, yes, don't forget that I am the great dissolver. She is a being of water, our planet is. She says, I am the great dissolver, and everything comes back home to me. I'm letting you borrow it so that you could turn it into novel, creative, complex, new forms. But all along your body, the biome in your body, the crown jewels of England, the plastic, all of it belongs to me, and I'm letting you borrow it. And she showed me a vision of the crown jewels sinking to the bottom of the ocean as she takes it back where it belongs, because it belonged to her the whole time.
Wow. Yes. Well, I
It's
think
very
this vision is like crowning the intuitive readings. I love them. I think we've all received so many practices that, well, I feel like adopting all of them. I don't know about you listening, but they're all
I'm gonna keep trying. I'm gonna
magical.
talk to my food a lot more.
Absolutely. So thank you for all these, yeah, incredible ideas and ways to tune in, to reconnect and tune in with with nature and with the natural law and the divine order also. So before I give you the final word, if you have any final word, you've offered so much already, but I want to wrap up the special offer. So the invitation, everyone, to living in natural law and divine order. It's a set of 4 retreats. One is the live event, and I'm really excited about this opportunity that we have to be with you for a live retreat with you, Elizabeth. So thank you for offering this exclusivity to our audience. That's the Life in Natural Law live retreat, and it's support live and replay. Of course, you're going to have the replay to keep going back to it, and it's supported by 3 instant access retreats to dive into, ideally prior to the live retreat. And you have all the details and where to join. You go to gracefulconnections.com. So graceful with 2 L's, gracefulconnections.com/Festival Elizabeth, Festival FESTIVAL, and then Elizabeth, all attached. If you're on the webcast, you have the button, the link to click, and on the replay, just scroll down the page and discover all the details of this special offer and join. And with the fast action bonus, expiring on Sunday, October 5th at midnight Pacific, the instant access class, Quantum Healing for Disease, Infectious Disease and Disease in general, and where you will not only receive healing, but you will learn to do the healing. And it's a solid 4.5 hour class, I think you said, Elizabeth. So with that, Elizabeth, are there any closing words you would like to share with us?
Yeah, what comes up is probably one of the most important distortions that we have had in our psyches as humans that's deeply culturally embedded and where we're conditioned very early on into this, no matter where you are on the planet. It's a pretty big, huge universal standard block that's been put in our way, which is our relationship with suffering. And I want everyone to know that the quick release to make it so that suffering doesn't have so much power over you is gratitude. And so let me give you an example. I have a very bad genetic disease that causes very awful chronic pain. There's no treatment. It gets worse and worse as you get older. It's a very terrible disease. So I'm in a lot of physical suffering all the time. But the way that I've been able to overcome it, having complete control over me, is total gratitude. Because when I recognize that my pain is power, it's full of light and power, that my suffering is full of immense amounts of power because it's very dense, it's very heavy energy. Once I recognize that, and that also in my genome, my epigenetic memory from my ancestors is full of lots of suffering, that's true. There's lots of treasures there too, don't throw it all out. But there's lots of suffering, and that's all basically my inheritance. It's money. It's money. It is full of huge weight. So the quick release from making it so that suffering doesn't have so much power over you is gratitude. Bow to the suffering and say, thank you so much for your wisdom. Thank you for teaching me. Thank you, dear physical pain, so much today. I thank you. It immediately puts you as the soul, the I am presence, in charge. And then you get to decide what you're going to do with that suffering. So I say, Source God, take this physical pain today and turn it into wonderful, miraculous blessings for all the people that are going to come on my interview. That's what I said this morning. Please turn this into blessings for all the people who are suffering and their marriages breaking up, or all the children who are suffering. So, my suffering then becomes blessings for those who are also going through similar suffering. All the children whose parents are breaking up, because it makes me suffer to watch my kids suffer, right? But instead of wallowing in it, trying to solve it, trying to ignore it, do the opposite. Bow to it. It is your greatest sensei. It's your greatest guru, is your suffering. And when we bow to it, then we own it. And then you can spend it. And you spend it to create miracles. If you're going to do anything I said today, do that. Spend your suffering to create miracles. Watch them happen. See for yourself that you are a mystic. You are capable of being a spiritual scientist. And that you can watch the measurable results from the things we've talked about today. It's your divine right to step into all of that power and have power over the suffering instead of it having power over you.
Wow, that's a perfect closing word. Yeah, so important. So important. We're going to be busy between the practices, but also, expressing our gratitude to our suffering and handing it all to the divine that it may bless others. Yeah, we're going to be busy in such a beautiful way, in such a graceful way. Thank you for that final word and all that you have shared prior to that, Elizabeth. Let's take a moment now to return to the awareness of the orb of grace surrounding us, allowing it to remain there, holding us, holding all that we have received, experienced, discovered or rediscovered or remembered today, all that we're not even yet aware we have received, allowing it to sink in, to settle in, as we are held in the orb of grace for as long as it serves our highest good, our evolution, and the highest good of all. And I'm closing now by offering my deepest gratitude to all of you, whether you're here live or on the replay. Thank you for answering yes to the calling of the grace of divine rights in natural law and the calling to claim your grace-filled place in the kingdom of light. Infinite gratitude to our brilliant channel of grace, Elizabeth Wysen, for all the wisdom, the illumination, and the sacred offerings, the generosity, all that you have gifted us today. Thank you so much, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
Yeah, and gratitude to the Orb of Grace for holding us in this safe, sacred sanctuary, and gratitude for all the grace we are blessed with at every moment, offering nourishment, healing, insights. We open our hearts to receive. Gratitude to our higher selves and all the higher beings who guide, support, and protect us, and to the divine presence, the I Am presence that flows through all that is all that is. Until we meet again very soon, may graceful blessings shower upon us all. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Elizabeth. And goodbye now.